So this is a video, or was an idea that some people had asked me for probably a few months now, but I pushed it back because I didn't want to make it because I'm lazy. But since I have a bunch of time now before the big anniversary hits, we got a video to make. So today's video is going to be Gear Lab priorities and what you can make from them. So this is going to be a very long topic, and I'm talking very long topic. So I'm going to break it down and try to make it as simple as possible while I'm talking about this video. Now before I start, how I'm going to categorize the gear in this video is very simple. There's going to be three main points. One is going to be the gain compared to current best in slots, or the current best gear you can make as of right now. Obviously, I'm not going to compare it to like Rainbow gear because that's an entirely different beast, but current, like second best gear, third best gear, kind of like that. That's what I'll compare with. So that's the first point. The second is cost of material. If you guys don't know yet, circuit boards are one of the most commonly used resources in the gear labs. You're going to be missing a lot of these. Well, I have like 300 right now, but like if you compare to everything else, I have like 500, 600. I've used way more than that. So we're going to talk about circuit board pricing and whatnot. And lastly, the third point is how oftenly used. How often are you going to use these gear equips when you craft them? How often will you? So with that being said, let's get right into it. So gear labs. There's going to be a lot of gear here, so I'm going to go straight down the point. We're talking about the gold gear specifically for the most part, so I'm not going to go really into detail with the purple ones and whatnot. Unless they're on their own branch at the end, then I'll talk about them. So first one, no, not worth it. You can get these from USS gear boxes, so don't make these. The second one, the light cruiser guns for these thingamabobs. Now, some people said here that this gun is pretty good. This gun is actually not that great because if you guys can see in this picture right here, the spread of this gun right here is very wide. So you're not going to hit everything, especially when you're like about this distance and your targets are like right here, especially for a boss. This is awful. Now, it could be pretty good for mobbing. If you want to use it for mobbing, it could be okay there. But I talk specifically for bossing, and bossing is mainly the only content where people have to be very artificial and very technical with their builds. So it's not that great. There's a lot more better choices out there, like Seattle's gun and Chappie's gun, stuff like that. Way better choices there. But if you want to use it for mobbing, I don't know why, but if you want to use it for mobbing, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. So there's that. The third gun here, Baltimore's gun, very good here. This is the first current gun I'll talk about that I have good faith into. Right here, this gun is very comparable with the PR1 rune gun. And as of right now, you can't get PR1 guns unless someone wants to correct me. I'm pretty sure you can't get PR1 gear as of right now without using like the whatchamacallit, these things right here. I could be wrong, but I think you can't get them. Hold up. These things right here. Yeah, I cashed them in for these, well, not this. These things, I think. Series 1, yeah, I cashed it for this. I don't think that's worth it. You're better off using for other things, especially like the Rainbow gun. You're better off using your cores or whatever for this bad boy right here, and not these. So don't do that. So, if you can't make the rune gun, you can make this. And this right here is just slightly better than the rune gun. So if you don't have any rune guns, you need some strong AP heavy cruiser guns. This is right here is very good. Material cost for this gun is the gunpowder and the purity metals. You're going to have abundance of these, so that's okay. Main gun prints, that's not an issue as well. Very good for resources as well. Doesn't conflict with other really good gear that uses circuit boards, so that's pretty good. And how often are these going to be used? If you're using heavy cruisers, you get fighting AP heavy armor stuff or medium armor stuff. You're pretty much always going to use these. So they're very good. Highly recommend that you guys make some of these. Very solid gear. Right here, we have the budget AP BB guns. Now, if you guys are at that point in the game where you're struggling with like medium and heavy armor bosses and targets and whatnot, you need some AP gun. This right here is a good jump right into AP guns. This will get you started. Don't make any other AP guns until then. You can make this gun. However, this falls short compared to other guns in the game, like Champagne's gun right here. Champagne's gun Where is it at? Let me dig. I'll find it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I have some made somewhere here. Hold up. I can find it. Or maybe I don't. No, right here. Okay, Champagne's gun. These are going to be the second best in slot, with the medium version being the Marco Polo's gun. These two, heavy and stuff, medium. These are going to be the second tier best in slot. So if you want the third tier best in slot, making those would be okay. Now, is this gun going to be super worth it? I'm going to say no, because, well, cancel that. It uses circuit boards. And if you guys are making other things right now that you're going to get way more benefits out of, it's not really worth it. So I will say no, but if you really want to make it, I'm not going to stop you. So it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you not to make it, but me personally, though, I wouldn't make this. Just go ahead and skip. Use your MK6s until you can go into Champagne and Marco Polo guns. Skip this one entirely, unless you really, really, really need it for whatever content you're doing. You really, really need it. Now, the other torpedoes, not a fan of these. They're pretty wacky on the projectiles and whatnot. Not a big fan of these. I can show you guys the pattern right here once I pull it up on what these torpedoes look like. So right here, once again, we have, wait for it, just very wide. So it's basically an upgrade from this, I believe. Let me see. It is, but it's not really that worth it. Not really, because, close this, you're paying a lot of extra resources for that. Now, these aren't conflicting resources, but I personally wouldn't do that, though. There are better choices for torpedoes out there, especially the homing KMS ones that you can make or get from the gear boxes or whatever. Those are way better choices. So I'm not a big fan of these. So I say skip on those. If you want to make them, I'm not going to stop you, but I wouldn't make those. Anti-air here. Anti-air is one of those things in this game where there's an abundance of anti-air, and you really don't have to min-max anti-air that hard. You can skip these. They're not worth it. Fighters. Bearcats and Tigercats are pretty good. Now, if I recall correctly, Tigercats are the ones you want to make. Compared to the Bearcats, they do slightly more damage or whatever. So if you want to make these, go ahead and make them. They are expensive on the circuit boards, 21 for slightly better fighter damage. So if you want that little bit more extra damage on fighters, this is not bad at all. Obviously now PR4 we have the PR4 fighters or whatever that does the AP rockets. Those may be better on like light and medium armor stuff. But if you're doing like maybe like Enterprise or like SX people with like fighter slots that wants to go to like heavy armor stuff, you can make these. You can make these. Now, me personally, I'm not gonna make these because I'm not gonna bother wasting my circuit boards on them. But if you want to min-max extra damage on like planes with a fighter slot for a little bit more extra damage, you can go ahead and make the Tigercats. They're the second best as of right now. Seahorn has been the best for damaged fighters. Well, outside of the new AP rockets or whatever, and I'm going to talk about those. Material cost, very expensive. I'm not a big fan of that. And how often are you going to use these? It depends on how often you use fighters. If you use fighters a lot for whatever content outside of World 12 and 13, because you need proper fighters there, this is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now we go here. We have the AoE Barracuda upgrades. I'm not a fan of these because, again, they use circuit boards and they're not that much better compared to like Barracudas, or like there's like the extra torpedo whatever, that's cool and all, but wave clearing nowadays is not that super important. Barracudas can clear the game just perfectly fine. You can skip these, go straight into Wyverns, which are way more better compared to the Sky Pirates. I wouldn't make these. Just skip them for now. You don't really need them. This Barracudas or whatever is perfectly fine. Now the gold Helldivers right here. On the flip side, this is not that worth it. You mainly only make these if you want a flat 20 aviation upgrade. Obviously, they used to be best in slot before the PR4 UR dive bombers came out. So if you want to make them for stats, then they're okay. Compared to the current best in slots, it's okay. It's like second best still. Material cost, it uses circuit boards, so you gotta be very careful about that. And how often you use these? Probably all the time, because you're not gonna have UR dive bombers, obviously, right off the bat. So if there's a dive bomber slot, these are really, really good. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people out there that plays like auto battle and stuff, and these are pretty slow. You want to use like comets or whatever. They're not that great then. But if you're gonna sit there and like, let's say you don't have problems with like fixing times for autos, and you want to manual for a bit, these are second best current best in slots as of right now. So not bad to make. Torpedo stuff, ignore these. These aren't that great. Skip that entirely. This gun right here sucks. I don't know. Jesus, is that a DD gun? Hold up. This is Jesus, what gun is that? Hold up, let me look it up. Jeez, I'm pretty sure that gun sucks though. But this gun right here is, yeah, it's a DD gun. Yeah, don't make this one. This one's awful. Neptune's gun. Now we just had an event that you can farm Neptune's gun. The idle event. Well, as of this video, it's gone now. So I hope you guys farmed enough. Assuming you guys farmed enough, don't make these. You don't need them. Now, if you really need them though, then it's fine. You can go ahead and make these as well too. Current best light cruiser gun for AP. Now, obviously, HE guns are better for the most part, but if you really want to make some, they can be used for auxiliaries if you need them for whatever reason, because we have Mogami guns in the IJN gearboxes. You can make some of these. They'll be okay. This right here. Now, this gear is not bad. It's not bad. It's probably one of the gear I would recommend right now, because even though it's not the best HE heavy cruiser gun, because that's going to be the St. Louis gun. St. Louis gun is from PR1 Researches, and you're not going to be in there anymore because it's removed from the game. So these gear right here will work just as fine. Now, they're not going to be insanely really good or insanely godly, but these right here are not bad. Compared to the current best slot, it's not up there, but it's definitely usable and it's pretty good. HE AP or HE heavy cruiser gun. Material costs, nothing too fancy at all. High purity metals and some of these ordnance testing reports, pretty cheap. And how often you use these probably depends how many times you use heavy cruisers. I use heavy cruisers a lot nowadays, so if you want to use HE guns for heavy cruisers, very solid to slot in if you don't have St. Louis guns at least. These guns right here, old guns, ignore these, awful. These right here are very solid. These torpedoes right here are straight shots, so if you try and go for like something that like up close or whatever, you may have an easier time hitting them. They're not that bad. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the IJN quad torpedoes that you get from gearboxes, but these right here are not that bad. Check out the spray pan right here. It just shoots in one straight line. Very, very easy. Just shoot and boom. Shoot and boom. So, current best in slots, it's up there. Definitely probably a top 3, I'd say, for torpedoes. Material cost, pretty cheap. It doesn't use circuit boards, so pretty cheap. And uses torpedo prints that most people aren't going to use, so that's another thing as well. And how often you use these? If you auto battle, they're not that great. So if you're manualing, it depends how much time you manual. They're pretty good for manualing. You can go ahead and use it there. So it depends how many times you're gonna auto, depends how many times you're gonna manual. But these are not a bad craft though. I personally don't have any, but they're not a bad craft. Anti-air, no, yes. These are very, very good. Now they use up circuit boards, which is one of the most priority resources. It's because these things are very, very good. Why? Not because of the anti-air. That's not the reason why you make it. You make it for the 15 firepower. Now 15 firepower is very, very unique to this anti-air because as of right now, there are only 3 anti-airs in this game that gives additional stats outside of anti-air. You have the Hazer Mayors or whatever that gives 5 hit. You have the Stag Bofors that give 10 hit. And you have these bad boys that give 15 firepower. I slot these to all my Vanguards. These are very, very good. Compared to current best slots, honestly, these are probably my favorite anti-air in the game as of right now. Very, very good. Material cost, circuit boards, but I make a lot of these, so I'm a big, big fan of Dido AAs. I call them Dido AAs because these were first introduced during Dido's Crosswave server event raid thing, so that's why I call it that. Definitely good. And how often do you guys use these, or how often do you guys use them? You guys can see for yourself. Well, I'm lagging right now, but you guys can see for yourself how often I use these bad boy anti-airs. Now if I scroll down a bit, boom, everyone is using one of the anti-airs. They're very, very, very good. Very, very good. I highly recommend you guys make them. Very worth the price. Now, let's go further. I'm like halfway through the video, so that's kind of scary. Sea Hornets. You can ignore these. Okay, don't make any of these, except this one, maybe. Sea Hornets are the best, well, outside of the new AVP, the PR4 fighters. I'm not going to talk about those. But for Gear Labs, it's the best one. Now, it's very expensive to make because you have to make these planes right here. And it's very, very expensive to make. It costs like a lot of circuit boards, like in the upper 30s, lower than 40 or whatever. It costs a lot of circuit boards for minimal damage increase. No, don't make these. If you guys want some damage on fighters, make the Tigercats that I spoke of earlier. Don't make the Sea Hornets. They cost a lot of circuit boards. And circuit boards are, once again, used to make Dido AAs, where you get absolute benefits from them. Not a big fan of the Sea Hornet at all. But if you do get some, use them because they're really, really good. We got a free one like, I don't know, a year ago or something. Very good. Torpedo bombers, ignore these. You don't need them. Wyverns. You get a pity one every 3 months, no matter how bad luck you get, as long as you clear the shop. Obviously, I don't have to talk much about these. They use circuit boards, a lot of circuit boards. They use the UR print as well. These are a must to make. Must. They're very, very good, and they act as fighters as well. If you guys don't already know they have an ability to intercept planes as torpedo bombers. Kind of scary, I know, but that does happen. So like right here, they have an effect. If I can find it, I don't think to tell you here, but it should be somewhere in the wiki. It'll tell you guys they intercept planes. They intercept planes, and that's pretty nasty. That is pretty nasty. So yes, obviously make them. Best in slot in the game by far for AoE bombing. Not even close. Material cost very expensive, but very, very worth it. How often you use these? When you're doing mob stuff, these always go in, no matter what. So torpedoes, skip these, make the bidders. Very, very good. These home in, magnetic, very, very good. The current best torpedoes to have as of right now for the auxiliary slot. Make these. Now you get this stuff from the daily or whatchamacallit. I get it from the weekly dailies. I don't bother farming these, but whenever you have some to make them. Give 2 to each submarine, get 6 total. They're very, very good. So current best slot, material cost, not a big deal because these things aren't circuit boards. And how often you use these, however often you use submarines is how often you're going to use these. So there's that. Now, this gun, no, don't make those, don't make those, don't make those, don't make those. These right here, slight upgrade compared to the manual ones. You don't have to make these. If you guys want to go ahead and make them, I won't stop you. They don't use conflicting resources like the circuit boards. They use their own resources for minimal gains. So if you guys want to go for that little min-max, I think they're worth it. If you use these torpedoes a lot, this might be a little bit worth it. It's going to cost a lot of resources, but it's like a little bit worth it. Anti-air, no. People say this is like a really, really good anti-air though, but use circuit boards, not a big fan of. We have sextuple AA and the new PR4 anti-air as well too. So again, if you use circuit boards, I'm not a big fan unless it gives a really, really big boost in what you're doing. Fighters, no. Torpedo bombers, not a big fan. If you need Ryuseis though, which are the best, well, it's up there compared to the PR4 one. It's one of the best ones. Converging torpedo bombers in the game. If you need these, make some. Use this circuit boards, but it's fine. You get them from PR research as well too, but it's not reliable and it takes a very, very long time. So if you really want the Ryuseis, highly recommend you make some. But get at least 6 minimum or 5 minimum. Get at least 5 minimum. And submarine stuff, ignore that. KMS gear, very, very good DD gun. Very, very good. If you want to slot on DDs or whatever, for I think this is APM or something, this is very, very good. If you want to use destroyers for 8P content, or heavy armor, medium armor stuff. Very, very good. Very, very good DD gun. One of the best current best in slots up there, top 3. Material cost, circuit board, not circuit boards. Well, it uses this stuff right here. And that's cheap. How often you use these? Depends how often you use DDs. Now, personally, you can use these as auxiliaries for USS battleships as well too. I'm not a big fan because they give 30 firepower versus the 35 you see from the baguette gun or the trash can gun. So 5 less firepower I'm not a big fan of, but you can definitely use these for auxiliaries on USS BBs if you don't have the other 2 DD guns I have listed above on the USS battleships. Light cruiser guns, nope, don't make any of those. Don't make that. Make this if you want the stats. I think this is overly complex to make. You're obviously gonna have a lot of torpedo prints if you haven't used your universals on them. So if you have leftover torpedo UR prints, you can go ahead and make this. Don't use your universals on the torpedo stuff. Trust me. Use it for the Wyverns. Get at least 2 or 3 of those Wyverns, and you're all good to go. Don't use your universals on the torpedoes. Don't. Anti-air, no. Fighter, no. Ju 87, comparable with the Ryuseis and the PR4 torpedo bombers. You're going to get the most benefit out of using this on Graf Zeppelin. So if you use a Graf Zeppelin, definitely make this. Otherwise, I would skip this. This is also used circuit boards as well too. No, don't make those unless you want to use Graf Zeppelin. Skip on those. And subtorps, you can make these, but me personally though, I would skip unless you really, really want them. Get the bidders from the HMS one. Way, way, way better. It's a lot grindier to get, but it's a lot better. So I try to make that as short as possible for you guys. The TLDR, I will list it on the screen right here as to what I personally believe that you guys should make. If you guys want to know more details about them, I'll put like a timer somewhere on the gear that I talked about, and you guys can review whether you want to make it or not. And that's it. So it's a long video. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. If you have any concerns or questions, go ahead and ask. Probably something in here is wrong. I'm sorry. I'm only human. So that's my take on the gear labs or whatever. Enjoy the video, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.